Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. With the NFL season about to start here, I wanted to do a study on how collectors value various starting quarterbacks from around the league, and I decided to use market cap of their silver prism rookies to sort of do that study, and I'll explain that in more detail in just a bit here. But before jumping in, I want to let everyone know that my boy Jeremy Donaldson, the Texas Snowman, his auction house is running its third ever auction right now as we speak. It ends this weekend. Collector Investor Auctions. The name of the auction house was inspired after my channel, Collector Investor Dealer. I'm a small stakeholder and I believe in the auction house heavily, and I, of course, believe in Jeremy. I've been watching him, set this thing up for over a year now, and he's doing everything the right way as I knew he would. A lot of great stuff in this auction, as always. Some nice vintage, some nice modern, and some nice non-sports and comics as well. If you want to check it out, you can register to bid for free. I've included all that information in the description below. But okay, so the idea for this video was to use market cap of silver prism rookies in a PSA 10 of quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks from around the league. And market cap is simply the number of PSA 10s that exist multiplied by the market value, and that gives you a total value known as market cap. And it essentially represents the popularity of a player compared to each other from the hobby. Like the higher a market cap of a card, the more popular of a card it is. And since we're using the silver prism rookie in a PSA 10 of all the players, that should sort of baseline it, and market cap would give you a good sense as to who's the most popular, or who collectors value in terms of popularity at this exact moment. Now, I did run into a couple of hiccups when doing this. First is the earlier Prism years, the pop counts are just so low. So some quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins and Geno Smith, were so low that this doesn't matter. Like, for example, the Kirk Cousins Silver Prism in a PSA 10 is just a pop 3. The other problem was 2018 is just an obscure year. The pop counts are so low, and so it just doesn't apply. Basically, all other years from roughly 2015 to present, this works, but 2018 kind of has to be excluded because the pop counts, again, just so low. Josh Allen, for example, is a pop 26, Lamar Jackson's a pop 28, and Baker Mayfield's a pop 13, so had to exclude those three players from this study. Okay, so when I remove the earlier quarterbacks and the 2018 quarterbacks and some of the rookies who don't have Prism rookies yet, it left me with 18 quarterbacks that we're going to rank. We're going to go through them from lowest market cap to highest market cap. So essentially, least popular to most popular player in the hobby. Of the 18 that I did the study for, the least popular is Daniel Jones. He has his PSA 10 has a pop count of 210, and it goes for about $80 today. That's a market cap of about $17,000. Second to last is Kyler Murray, rookie card from 2019, the Silver Prism in a PSA 10. Has a pop count of 194, a current market value of about $375 for a market cap of $73K. Just ahead of him is Jared Goff, coming in at number 16, pop count of 598, market value of 160. That's a market cap of just under $100,000. Tua Tagovailoa, his Silver Prism goes for about $500 in a PSA 10 with a pop count of 199 for a market cap of $99,000. Justin Fields, technically not a starter. I think he's actually backing up Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, or at least that's projected to be the case. His PSA 10 sells for about $220 and has a pop count of 493 for a market cap of $108,000. Trevor Lawrence, just ahead of him, his Silver Prism sells for $1,000, but low pop count, so the market cap is $120,000. Number 12, Jordan Love, his Silver Prism sells for about $900 in a PSA 10. That gives a market cap of $150K. Jalen Hurts comes in at number 11 with a market cap of $182K. Ahead of Jalen Hurts, coming in number 10, is Will Levis, 2023 Silver Prism PSA 10. Sells for about $220 with a pop count of just under $1,000 for a market cap of $212K. And after running through this list, I'll sort of give my thoughts on a lot of it and the rankings and what they mean. And I'll say that this is not a perfect system in terms of, ranking the popularity of these players, but it's actually not bad. As a single standalone data point, the market cap of their Silver Prism PSA 10, I think it's a really actually good way to evaluate the popularity of the player in the hobby at this moment in time. Obviously, with prices changing and pop counts changing, these numbers can change fast. But at this snapshot moment in time, I think it's a pretty good representation of how collectors value these quarterbacks sort of in comparison to each other. Number 9 is Justin Herbert. His 2020 Silver Prism PSA 10 sells for about $1,200, giving it a market cap of $230K. I would have thought Justin Herbert would have been higher on the list here, but Dak Prescott coming in at number 8 with a market cap of $260K. Number 7 is Bryce Young. It'll be a second-year starter coming up here with a market cap of $294,000. You can see the big pop counts on the 2023 cards. Number 6, definitely a surprise one, Deshaun Watson, coming in with a market cap of $372,000. This this is sort of an outlier, I would say, data point, but you could also use it to conclude something about the value of this card, which I'll discuss at the end. Number 5, Brock Purdy, market cap of $460,000 for his 2022 Silver Prizm. Number 4, Anthony Richardson. His PSA 10 Silver Prizm sells for about $500 as a pop count of just short of 1,000 for a market cap of $474,000. Number 3, Joe Burrow, market cap of $484,000, one of the more expensive PSA 10 Silver Prizms on the list. Number 2 is CJ Stroud, another second-year starter, market cap of $1,521,000. That's 3 times as much as Joe Burrow, who was one behind him at number 3. And number 1 is appropriately Patrick Mahomes. His PSA 10 Silver Prizm from 2017 has a pop count of 955, sells for over $4,000 for a market cap of $4 million. Okay, so looking at all 1801 chart, and again, this sort of represents how collectors value these players in the hobby at this moment in time. And you can see Patrick Mahomes obviously miles ahead of anyone else, which is appropriate. CJ Stroud, actually number 2, is miles ahead of number 3, Joe Burrow. And, a couple of things jump out from this chart. Number 1, the unproven guys really in their second year here, just way, way too high. I mean, Anthony Richardson, number 4, ahead of Brock Purdy, who's a Super Bowl quarterback. Bryce Young, number 7, ahead of, Justin Herbert, who I think was an MVP contender. Will Levis ahead of Jalen Hurts. These 3, but that's sort of always to be expected, that really, really, really young players are just way, way overvalued. Now, something to be aware of is everyone on this list is in the first half of their career, basically. A couple you might say are sort of at the halfway point, say Patrick Mahomes or Jared Goff, but for the most part, everyone on here is a young player in the first half of their career with a lot of time left. It's not like these are old aging veterans who are towards the end. All of these players are going to have a lot of time left to develop. So when someone in their second year versus someone in their fourth year, that shouldn't have a huge difference in the big picture, but obviously it does here. Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, and Will Levis being, really, really high compared to what they've accomplished so far. Second thing that jumped out is a few of these players I just thought were surprisingly low. Justin Herbert at 9, Jalen Hurts at 11, and Trevor Lawrence at 13. To me, I would have thought they were, all would have been higher. Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence were both like the CJ Stroud of their class, a couple of years ago, and they've played pretty well. They've been solid starting quarterbacks, and they're way down the list behind, like I said, some of the Anthony Richardsons and Will Levises. Jalen Hurts as well, like number 11 strikes me as too low here for him to rank amongst these guys. Jared Goff, who I've mentioned before, just no love for Jared Goff. To me, I don't know. It seems like he's a better quarterback than, bottom of the league level here, but no, he ranks number 16. Daniel Jones, I know he hasn't had, much success recently, and he plays for a team not likely to, compete for a playoff spot anytime soon, but I mean, look at the market cap of his card versus anybody else on the list. Like, he's basically free at this point. If you have any, belief in Daniel Jones or think he has any upside, his cards are basically bargains right now. And I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just noting how low his market cap is compared to everyone else. Another way to think of it or use this would be to compare how the hobby values these players versus like the NFL experts. I use PFF ranking. PFF is a company that does a lot of data analysis and statistical analysis in the NFL. They do a lot of sort of rankings and trying to quantify a lot of players. And of the 18 quarterbacks on this list, I added where they rank amongst the 18. Justin Fields is not projected to be a starter, so he didn't get a ranking, but you can see him on the right there. Patrick Mahomes number 1, Joe Burrow number 2, etc. And looking for discrepancies, you can sort of get some idea of stuff. And again, a lot of the young players, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Will Levis, have major discrepancies, being ranked way too high by the hobby. But there are some veterans with some discrepancies as well. Deshaun Watson is a notable one. Came in 6th by the hobby, but 13th by the NFL. So that, sort of suggests, or by PFF, that sort of suggests that, Deshaun Watson cards in general are overvalued. On the flip side, Justin Herbert was notable in the other direction. He was ranked 9th by the hobby market cap and 3rd by PFF of these 18 quarterbacks. So that sort of suggests, maybe his cards are a little undervalued at the moment. This is just one data point, but something interesting to note. But that's it for now. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, let me know what you thought of this data dive. And yeah, if anything sort of jumped out at you as interesting or off or whatever. But really appreciate it, and I'll see you all again next time. Thanks, everyone.